Have you ever just watched someone or yourself make a terrible decision and you just think, why? Why did that happen? Well, it turns out our tendency to completely mess things up isn't some random bug. It's actually a feature. So today, we're going to break down the predictable, almost systematic way that we humans are just, well, irrational.
You know, it's funny, we're always so surprised when people do foolish things. But if you take even a quick look at history, it shows you this isn't the exception, it's the rule. Making bad decisions isn't some weird anomaly, it's a constant, recurring theme. So the real question is, why do we keep expecting anything different? To really get a handle on our own modern mistakes, we've got to go all the way back to the very first, the original blueprint for a bad choice. And look, we're not treating this as a religious story here, but as maybe the most famous example of a truly, truly terrible trade. I mean, just look at how lopsided this deal is. On one side, you have actual perfection, a daily, personal walk and talk with the creator of the universe. And on the other side, a single bite of a piece of fruit. It is, without a doubt, the worst trade in history, and it perfectly sets the stage for our weird human tendency to sabotage something amazing, all because we get curious about the one thing we're told we can't have.
And this, right here, is where it gets personal. Because if they couldn't get it right in a literal paradise with zero stress and zero baggage, what on earth makes any of us think we're somehow immune to that same exact flawed logic in our messy, complicated, modern lives?
So that ancient story really just highlights this huge mismatch that we're all still dealing with today. Our expectations are completely out of sync with our reality. We live in this high-tech, modern world and we expect everyone to be rational. But deep down, we're all still running on an ancient brain.
And this slide just nails the problem perfectly. We make the mistake of confusing technological progress with human progress. Look at the left side, AI, instant information, incredible science. Now look at the right. What's driving us? Ego, curiosity, the need for a quick reward, the exact same primitive impulses. We've got Silicon Age tools, but we're still powered by Stone Age urges.
This is really the key takeaway. The reason we're always so shocked by stupid behavior is this fundamental mismatch. We are literally running ancient software on modern hardware. And the glitches, they aren't just predictable. They are absolutely guaranteed.
So how does this whole mismatch actually play out inside our heads? Well, this isn't just some philosophical idea. It's backed by a ton of research in cognitive science. And it all starts with understanding that your brain basically has two very different bosses calling the shots.
The scientific framework for this whole thing is called dual process theory, and it was made famous by the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. The big idea is that we have two totally different ways of thinking, and they're pretty much always fighting for control.
So on one side, you've got System 1. Think of it as the impulsive nomad. It's super fast, emotional, and all about gut feelings and shortcuts. It's what kept our ancestors alive when they heard a stick snap in the dark. Then, on the other side, you have System 2, the deliberate scientist. This one is slow, logical, and takes real, actual energy to get going.
But here's the catch. Our logical System 2? It gets tired. It has a battery life, and it's called decision fatigue. And when that battery runs out, guess who takes over? The impulsive, shortcut-loving System 1. This is exactly why you're way more likely to eat junk food or buy something you don't need at the end of a really long, stressful day. Your rational mind is just too tired to put up a fight.
So you have to ask yourself this. If your logical brain just kind of checks out every time you're tired or hungry or stressed, how much of your life is really under your deliberate control? And how much is just being run on autopilot by the same impulsive, survival-driven brain as one of our prehistoric ancestors? Oh, but it gets even deeper. See, it's not just about two competing systems. Our brains come preloaded right out of the box with these systematic errors in thinking. And they aren't random mistakes. They are hard-coded glitches we call cognitive biases. Now, there are literally hundreds of these glitches, but let's just do a quick-fire round of 3 of the most powerful ones that are constantly tripping us up. We've got the optimism bias, hyperbolic discounting, and the good old Dunning-Kruger effect. First up is the optimism bias. This is that little voice inside your head that whispers, yeah, that bad thing might happen to other people, but not to me. We are literally wired by evolution to underestimate risk for ourselves. And that's why we so often walk headfirst into disasters that we could see coming a mile away for everybody else. Next up, hyperbolic discounting. And this one takes us right back to the garden at the beginning. Our brains are hardwired to value a small, immediate reward.
The forbidden fruit, that extra slice of cake, one more hour scrolling on our phones. Way, way more than a much bigger, delayed reward, like a healthy future or, paradise itself. Our DNA wants that cheap fix, and it wants it now.
And finally, the infamous Dunning-Kruger effect. This is that crazy paradox where the people who know the least about a subject are often the most confident that they are experts. It's like their own ignorance creates a blind spot that prevents them from seeing how incompetent they are, which, well, it often leads to some pretty spectacular failures.
And this forces a really humbling question, doesn't it? Knowing that your brain is pre-programmed with all these glitches, how can you ever be sure that your feeling of absolute certainty about something isn't just the Dunning-Kruger effect kicking in, and your own ignorance is just blinding you?
So, okay, does all this mean our brains are just broken machines? No, not at all. The problem isn't that our brain is broken, it's that we completely misunderstand its main job. It wasn't designed for what we think it was designed for.
You see, research shows we operate under something called bounded rationality. We just don't have the time or the mental horsepower to find the absolute #1 best solution to every single problem. So what does our brain do instead? It takes a shortcut. It satisfies us. That means it just chooses the very first option that's good enough to solve the immediate problem so we can move on. Basically, we choose the path of least resistance, and then we call it a wise decision.
And this, right here, might be the most crucial point of all. Your brain's #1 job is not to find objective truth. Its #1 job is to keep you alive. It's a survival machine, first and foremost. A lot of the behaviors that seem so stupid today, like tribalism or hoarding resources, were actually brilliant survival strategies back in the ancient world. That's the evolutionary mismatch. We're using 10,000-year-old survival instincts to try and solve 21st century problems.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. We've looked at the science, we've looked at the biases, and we've looked at what our brain is really for. So, what does this new perspective tell us about where we started this whole conversation?
Here it is, the final thought. If the very first humans, in a perfect situation, with a perfectly clear mind, still made a catastrophic trade, what chance do any of us really have? We are trying to navigate life with a tired brain that's running on ancient software, a brain that's loaded with glitches and biases, and is totally obsessed with short-term survival over any kind of long-term truth. Maybe, just maybe, the most rational decision we can ever make is to finally accept just how irrational we were truly designed to be.